Hey guys, sorry for the interrupt yet again. We are back. We're going to continue to open up the Wild of Andrazi packs. We're going to open up some Lorcana packs, and then we're going to do some painting. The campaign that we're going to be doing, our multiverse campaign, does have elements of Warhammer in it. So I don't know what's going on with Twitch, but lately it seems people have the ability to crash my stream. I don't know if you've seen other creators have that same problem, but it seems like people react to my stream and then they crash it. If you were doing that, or you are the person watching me and doing that, please stop. I don't fully understand why that is happening or what is causing that to happen, but I really would like you to please stop. I feel like I'm being trolled by a particular person, but I don't know. If you guys are voting like thumbing down my stream or thumbing up my stream, if you could let me know in the comments, that would be really helpful, because it seems to crash my stream when that happens. So and my theory is that you don't like that I'm doing non-Warhammer things in my stream, but there are so many people that paint on here that use the Warhammer tag and do paint models that aren't Warhammer, talk about things that aren't Warhammer. I am going to paint as well, so please be nice, show some love. I'd love to see hello or how's it going in the comments, which would be awesome too. But I feel like somebody keeps like crashing my stream intentionally, whether it's a bot or something else. So I will be trying to find out who that is and get to the bottom of it, but anyway. But I feel like it always happens because I end up having like multiple people watch, and then one person drops out immediately when they thumb down my stream, which is really like weird. But anyway, Sire Ginger, that's pretty cool for a rare. Grasp of Fate was the other card we were talking about. And my foil, that's what I got in that pack. And we got this cool art card because it is a set booster pack. But yeah, I feel like somebody just pops in, votes it down, and it must be a bot. Which sucks because I don't think I can actually catch the bot before it like crashes my stream. The lands in this set are so cool. I wish I could get a lot more of them. But that's the full art lands in this set. Archon's Glory. Break the Spell. Jonah's Stopgap. Neva Stalked by Nightmares. Ooh. Arita's Tempting Apple. Stone Splitter's Bolt. Twisted Filthy. Ooh, Scolding Viper. That's a really cool card. I like the artwork on that. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value 3 or less, the Viper deals 1 damage to that player. Very interesting. I love the art style on that. So first rare of the pack, Lich Knight's Conquest. Sacrifice any number of artifact enchantments and or tokens. Return that many creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Ooh, that's a really good card. And then alternate art card, Garruk's Uprising, which I've gotten before. Ooh, a foiled Dragon Mantle. Very cool. And then On an Adventure, which is a token card. And then we got a signed art card. These are the rarer art cards to get. But I don't really consider them as, like, insert cards. So, not too shabby for 2 packs. We got, what? 3 rares. So, we kind of did one better than what you could get. So, not the greatest showing on the rare side. The whole idea of these packs is that you do get more of the alternative art cards, and you have more shots of getting rare hits. So I like the set boosters for that reason. Not everybody else likes them. I do, though. So that was our Magic pulls. Now we're going to do some Lorcana pulls. If you guys have been under a rock, Lorcana is basically Disney doing an MTG game. Similar to Magic, similar to a bunch of other games. Floodborn is the new set, which I was able to get a pack of. I know that sounds crazy, but there was only one pack left in the store. And then Chapter 1 was the first set. I was able to get 2 packs of that. So let's see our Floodborn pack, which is our newer. I'm kind of hoping for a big hit here. But knowing me, I'll probably get a bunch of crappy rares. Oh my god. Alright, hold still. Which this card looks bent. Elsa. Tigger. Hypnotized. Rabbit. Donald. Wait, what? Okay. This is a misprinted pack. So you're not supposed to get 3 foils in it. All of the uncommons were foiled in the pack. So there are 3 additional foiled cards in this pack, which is insane. So Li Shang, the most diabolical scheme, and Zero to Hero. You get 2 rares in the pack, and of course, oh, that's cool. I got 3 rares in the pack. We got Lucifer, which I have already gotten a playset of them. The worst epic to get because it's in one of the starter decks. So now I have a full playset of the Queen. But World's Greatest Criminal Mind, actually a very good card. It is great because it banishes a character of 5 attack or more, and it's only 3 ink to play it. So it's actually a really good card. Okay, so I just picked up some random other foiled cards. That's wacky. It's interesting because I don't know if for folks out there that play Dragon Ball Super, they have things called God Packs where every one of the cards in the pack is foiled. So for a minute I thought they did that with Lorcana, and I was like, really? So again, not too thrilled with this, but I paid MSRP for the pack, so whatever I get is good stuff. But that's crazy that there were 4 foils in this pack, an epic and 2 rares, and one of them was a foiled rare, so all good. That's a pretty decent pack. All right, let's check out our Chapter 1 packs. These are really just lotto tickets. I'm hoping that I get maybe a mythic out of this, or the ever elusive Rapunzel, which is the one card from the first series that I really want. The legendary Rapunzel. But knowing me, I will pull junk in these cards. Peter Pan. Mickey Mouse. Peter Pan. There are multiple versions of many characters. Smee. Elsa. Kristoff. Cinderella. Simba. Cut to the chase. Our first rare is Cruella. Our second rare is Maurice. I have so many Maurices. I actually have gotten like 8 Maurices. And our foil is Ransacked. So that was a terrible pack. And again, Cruella is a terrible rare to get because Cruella was in the theme decks. So a ton of people have Cruella. So she has literally no value. That's one of the things I don't like about these cards. Is that you can pull a lot of the rares that are in the theme packs. So, Mickey Mouse. Mufasa. Pongo. Simba, the Wardrobe, another Simba, Ursula's Cauldron, The Beast is Mine. Funny enough, the Eye of the Fates, I don't have that many of these. Dr. Facilier, which you can get in an intro pack, so he is not the greatest rare to get. We did get an Epic Genie, which I actually have the Enchanted rare of the Genie too. So we did pull another Epic, and we got a foiled Part of Your World, which is actually a pretty good card to get, because this also is return a character card from your discard pile to your hand. So this is a really good card, but and I can actually use this on a couple of decks that I have. So not too shabby. We scored an extra rare there, so these two very good. These not so great. Mostly just because I have so many of them. Maurice is actually a pretty good card, but all right. So that is our Lorcana pulls for this. That was really quick. I wanted to do the card stuff a little on the quicker side than I normally do, because I know the cards are not the main video. So I'm going to clean up and reset for a second, and we're going to jump right into painting our Spider Merchant. And I'd love to know from the folks out there in TV land, what are y'all up to? What are y'all painting? How's your week going? All that good stuff. I will promise we're gonna take a back seat on the cards. So if I do get more cards, we will totally, as a channel, open those up. I'll either do a separate video, or I will do I'll do those more as a private thing, or I just have some fun. But I think it's kind of cool to break up the stream and just like kind of open some stuff and get to talk about some stuff. Because I can imagine that a lot of people that play Warhammer and tabletop games might also play Magic or some of the other TCG games that are out there. I was going to say, if you are one of those folks that plays a TCG game, I'd love to hear in the comments what do you play. All right, so funny story about our Spider Merchant. If you have been watching us painting this model, it actually fell off my desk, so I had to do some green stuff surgery because the piece, I have no clue where it is. So I created just a new leg for him, which we're going to actually paint in white today, so that I can actually paint that at some point and repaint that. So I came up with some bands and with some other stuff just to do kind of a quick just a quick patch job on him. And again, we're going to be using this in a multiverse campaign, which will have elements of Warhammer in it. It will have elements of elements of other franchises in it. So it's going to be all over the place. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be campaign driven. So it's going to be more campaign play. Which I really love doing. Don't get me wrong, I love playing just like regular, obviously just regular like Warhammer, but I love doing campaign missions or scenario missions as well. I always found that really fun to do. And we're going to be creating... So I'm going to be creating some custom rules for it. I'm going to be creating a bunch of other stuff for it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But as I always say to anyone, especially if you're new to the channel, the only way you're going to know about it and the only way you're going to be able to see it is going to be if you are signed up to get notifications and are following us. Because I do have a slight schedule on the week, but I may be changing the schedule, and I definitely have been streaming at different times and sometimes doing a lot more bonus streams on like weekends and other stuff because you know, I'm a little different than your normal streamer out there. I got to do this on time that I have outside of normal times of other stuff. So but I do mean it. If anyone out there knows why my streams like fail right when they start, I'd love to know. I don't pretend to say that I am 100% the most experienced Twitch streamer out there. So I know they've been changing a lot of stuff and they've been doing a lot of different things to their website. But it's kind of crazy. I see a big giant like thumbs down sign and then my like stream freezes and then I have to basically restart the whole thing and then it's fine. But I don't know what the heck is happening and it makes me think that someone is popping in and because I thought, if I wasn't mistaken, Twitch like activated this feature that you guys can do like real-time comments on people's streams, so it's like putting up a notification. And I feel like someone, if that feature is like glitched or something, I feel like somebody maybe is using it to actually like interrupt me. Or like I said, maybe the other realization I've come to is that because I am streaming on the Warhammer channel, and I sometimes feature models that are not GW models, people don't like that because I know there's like a lot of people who get really hung up on like, well, you're not streaming the exact thing. You still are talking about it, or it's still maybe a proxy model. Or maybe you have intentions of using it as something. And people get like very, very mad if you're like using that that channel. So yeah, so I don't know. But if anybody out there can let me know what the dealio is with all that stuff, that would be super cool, awesome of you. But I will stop talking about it. I feel like I'm talking too much about it. But I would love to know what everybody's working on, and if you guys have your own projects that you're working on. Like if you're working on something in particular, or you have a specific, maybe a model, or even a GW game that you like love beyond all, I'd love to hear about it. I tell people all the time when I'm painting or when I'm streaming, even if I'm not even if I'm painting a fantasy model, but you want to talk about 40K, like I am open to all things. So everything is legal here. So don't feel pressured that you have to but I definitely feel like I feel like I might have made an enemy and somebody is like trolling my stream, but again, I don't know. Like I said, I do know that Twitch has like I know they've initiated a lot more features on their site, so it could just be a simple bad luck to that as well. So, but yeah, so unfortunately the Spider Merchant had to have a little bit of surgery, so he is slightly different than the model you would find from the folks that I grabbed this from. So if you are intending to go pick this up, I did have to make some customization to him. And again, this is Lethal Shadow Minis, premium miniatures. They have a lot of really cool stuff. And really cool stuff that you can use. I say it all the time when we're painting this, but like they're absolutely fantastic for proxying. So if you're looking for stuff to proxy for AOS or you're looking for something to proxy for a fantasy, they're going to start doing sci-fi models also. Like, they are a great place for all of that as well. They really do have a lot of great products and just great sculpts, great minis. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just focusing on the armor bits. I'm going to do some gold detailing on there, and obviously the gems are going to be something as well. But I was like trying to think about what I wanted to use for the color, but and not that I want to harp on what we were talking about earlier, but if, as I said before, if I am making people angry with my, with the fact that I am painting non-Warhammer models, on stream, as I said before, please just message me. Let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Rather than like doing things to make my stream fail live and all that kind of stuff. Because like I said, I've had people like openly comment on my stream and get really like angry that like you're and get angry that you're not streaming the topic that you have in your description, or which I get it, like I totally get it. Like if you're searching for that content and creators are not doing that, I get the idea behind being angry about it, but like I was saying before, I've gone on so many of these streams that say Warhammer and they're not people painting Warhammer models. And just to give you guys an indication as to like a little bit of the why it's frustrating for creators, a little bit, is that I wish that Twitch would make categories for all of the different things that are out there, but they don't. So if you're a hobby painter, there is no, like, every single game that you could be painting miniatures for doesn't have a category on Twitch. So yes, you can go into the hobby creator tab, but you, as someone who is trying to get their channel a little bit further out there and get more exposure, if you go into that realm, you're in such a larger pool with so many other people that it is hard to get exposure. So that's why it can be frustrating because I know people that watch folks like myself will give like that feedback, and they'll be like, well, you really shouldn't be like saying that you're a Warhammer when you're not painting a Warhammer model. And I'm like, I get it, but if I don't do that, like, I will be lost so far in the sauce that no one will come and see it. You know? So, I mean, I see it all the time. You'll have people that paint under Warhammer, but they're painting like they're painting like busts. They're painting like other models from other games. But they're using that Warhammer category. And the reason behind the why is because, well, people who are model hobby painters play Warhammer because it's a very big game with a lot of models. So it's like, you know, or I'm sure their justification would be, well, I sometimes paint that, or I'm a commissioned painter and I paint those types of models too. And that would be my same justification. I do also paint Warhammer models, so I just sometimes throw in like little things like the card openings or the unboxings and things like that, because I just think it's kind of fun and it's a little bit of a breakup of my stream, just to kind of throw more content in there. And honestly, sometimes it's just a test to see if you guys find it interesting too. And part of why I've taken not a break, but the reason you guys haven't seen me on more regularly, you probably hear it in my voice, but I've been super congested and just not feeling well. The last little bit. So it's been really frustrating, but being sick, there has been some nights where I just have not felt great to jump on and start doing it. So I kind of took a step back to just like get myself back on track and try to shake this. But this sort of cough and cold hasn't really left me yet. I had the flu a week ago, So that's why we had a break in our videos, and I just wasn't back on Twitch for a while. So I'm trying to give you guys better videos, but now we're having the new issue of just like I was talking about, of people. It looks like somebody comes in and votes down my video or votes down a reaction, and it freezes my entire stream, and it actually makes me have to restart. So kind of odd, but like I said, if anybody knows what's going on or how that's happening, I would love to know so I can take the necessary actions to fix it, or better yet, disable it. I think I know what it is, but I'm not like 100% sure. But if you are gifted with the knowledge, please do not hesitate to throw it up in the chat. And also, don't hesitate to throw up a hi, how you doing? As I've asked a few times in this stream already, what projects are you working on? What do you like to play? What do you like to paint? You know, are you new to painting? I love helping people that are new to the hobby or like have questions. That is always a lot of fun. It's one of the reasons I started streaming, you know. Like everybody else, I would love for us to have a larger channel, and I want to do really cool stuff and eventually turn this into more than just a small thing. But first and foremost, what I really, really loved about streaming was helping people. Especially like one of my favorite things when I started streaming, painting, and just like in general, like some of the like, because we even do, or I used to do, which I have to get back into doing it, but I used to just do like reviews on stuff. One of the things I loved about doing that was people would come on the stream and just ask questions, because they find it really overwhelming to start this stuff. They find it overwhelming to get into it, and you know, it gave them a safe space to kind of ask those questions, because I know I have had that myself, where I've gone to like my local, you know, whatever my local current gaming you know, community was at that time, or the store that I found that I was going to go to, and it can be really intimidating when you go to some of those places, because the community of people that play there can be, you know, really a tight-knit group. They kind of know each other. They've been playing for a while. So as a newcomer, you don't always feel, you know, like you have a whole handle on what's going on. And I say it all the time, but sometimes people at gaming stores, they mean well, and they definitely are trying to help. But sometimes the passion, that's how I like to categorize it. The passion that we all have for some of this stuff gets the better of us, and then like, you know, we kind of tell that person, you know, what I like to call the absolutes. You know, like, we'll will tell that new person, like, oh, you absolutely have to do it like this, or you absolutely have to do it like that, or there's only one way to do this. And you know, I think there are some times where that is true. Like, there is a, you know, maybe a good way to start something. But sometimes, and I kind of believe in this, I don't know if you folks do, but people finding their way too, I think, is really important. So like sometimes especially if it's like picking an army or a faction or something. You know, sometimes people have to find their way, because you know, I think a lot of people are quick to say like, oh, what's your play style? What kind of like armies do you like? Or like, what do you like to play? And like, that question in itself could be a tough question for a new player transitioning, you know? Just putting a second coat of white on this because I want, basically, because this is already a painted model and I had to do repair on him. I'm just gonna do like quick brush priming versus spraying it. This is because, of course, the model's already painted, so I don't want to like have to tape all of it and redo it and everything. So I'm just going through and just doing a brush coat of Cortex White to give it a prime, you know, painted surface. So when I put the other contrast paint on there, I can just get that to look real good, and it will should do the trick. Now while that's drying, I'm going to move on to other stuff on the model. And I'm curious to know what you guys think of it, and if you're liking the paint job so far on our Spider Merchant. Again, the Spider Merchant's going to be appearing in so he's going to be appearing in two places. He's going to be appearing in this multiverse campaign that we keep talking about, but he is also going to appear in a Spelljammer campaign. He's going to be part of, you know, the NPCs, the merchants at different spaceports. And I should say, if you're not familiar with Spelljammer, Spelljammer, to give it the quickest explanation possible, it's essentially D&D's take on space. So it is their take on space, but it's sort of like a different dimension and or plane. So it's a little bit different than like what you think it's going to be. But I have a lot of really cool characters coming. I've already created a bunch of like sort of a cast of characters for that. So I'm super looking forward to it. So when I met Lethal Lethal Shadow Miniatures at Comic-Con, and I saw this Spider Merchant, I was like super down. The minute I saw this, I was like, this is totally what I'm looking for. This is totally awesome. It's perfect for that niche kind of thing. And quite honestly, the other reason that I really liked this model is for all my Labyrinth fans out there, it looks very... It has that very labyrinthy feel to it, and I really liked that about it, so... That sort of prevailed. And so immediately, as you can see, I kind of gravitated to this paint scheme of I wanted it to look like, you know, he has just a lot of different satchels, bags. Since he carries it all on his back, which, if you remember, in the in Labyrinth, they there was those characters that were like, oh, you have to like keep, they basically like kept all their possessions on their back, because it was like a metaphor of like all these like things that you think of as a child weigh you down or keep you down, and as you're an adult you kind of let go of those things, which I always thought was a really powerful message in it. Which I always thought was pretty cool. Now I'm going to use the Plague Bearer Flesh, which I love this green, to kind of bring in some more of that green, because I'm kind of going through this step by step to kind of figure out where or how I want certain colors to look. But I like this idea of like multiple colors for like different bags. So like I said, it just looks like it's piles of satchels that have different things. I was gonna say, is there like a non-GW model that maybe you out there might be working on or using maybe as a proxy for your army? I know there's different schools of thought on that. I know it also kind of depends on where you play, because some people, you know, their communities, some people are kind of like for the whole proxy thing. And then I know there's like, kind of going back to what I was saying about like when you go to a shop for the first time, sometimes those opinions get the better of people. I feel like things like that can sometimes be like an area where there could be a very different opinion on how that should be. I personally am I'm all good with people proxying. You know, I say it to people all the time, like I'm in favor of people doing proxying, and the reason behind it is that if that makes the game more accessible for someone, I'm all in favor of it. Because the reality is, this is an expensive hobby to get into, so, you know, I love all these companies, but, you know, they all have their moments where sometimes a model you need, or if you're trying to, like, you know, figure something out, or you're trying to, you know, have a certain build or a certain army. It can be difficult to get all the models you need, especially if some of them are more expensive. Like I said, I obviously love these games. I love playing them. But you know, specifically like GW. GW could be a tough nut to crack because due to the fact that they have Forge World, which is like a premier model company, which is their own. You know, they have multiple companies that make their own models, and they specifically have a company that's like an upper echelon. That could be really tough for someone who wants to try stuff out. So it's like, and then the other piece is that for people that want to explore different factions, again, going back to the whole investment thing, you know, if you let's say you like want to try out this faction, but you know, you're like just not, you want to try it out, but you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, whatever. Like, who wants to sit down, you know, put a bunch of money down on a faction and you don't even know if you want to play them yet? So like for me, I'm a big fan and component of like letting somebody, you know, try out an army or try out something. And if that means like proxying half an army, so be it. Let them do it. So I'm gonna do some Gilliman here. So although I want to have a lot of colors for the satchels and stuff, I don't want to make it like insane amount of colors. So I do want to sort of bring the eye through and have some even tone stuff. And then that's also going to help because I can use different colors to make some of these other objects like the boots and the gloves and some of the other stuff a little bit easier to show up. And then that also is going to make it so there's a little bit more vibrancy with the color choices. So it'll make some of the pinks, the purple, and the orange and the green. It'll make it pop more because we have a little bit of a duller color that's going through it as well. All right, I feel like I talk too much. But like I said, guys, don't be shy. Say hi in the chat. Love to hear, you know, even like what, if you're somebody who's been painting for a while, or you know, you're into the hobby quite a bit. You know, I always like to ask the question, you know, what got you into the hobby? What was your like number one? What was your number one, you know, like, you know, was it a certain model? Was it, you know, I know for me, a lot of what got me into the hobby. So like for me, it started with just D&D stuff. So back in the day, you know, when you used to just walk into maybe a hobby shop or, you know, stores that like comic shops and gaming shops that started to carry a lot of this stuff. You know, the original, you know, now we think of Most people, when they think of Dungeons and Dragons, they think of Wizards of the Coast now because they bought D&D. But it was actually owned by a different company at the time that it first came out. And at that time, there was a lot of model kits that came out. So you could have those models, on your tabletop. As you and your companions were telling your epic adventure, you could have physical models to represent the monsters on the table and all that stuff. So that was my first forte into miniature painting, because I was grabbing those models, and so it was just straight. I always liked painting the creatures, specifically like the dragons. So that was my first forte into it. So like many folks that I have met and talked to, I am from the same cloth that... Yeah, this is all pooling now. I'm from the same cloth that the painting came first, playing the games came second. And I feel like that's a very common tale for a lot of people out there, that their first forte into all this was just going to their local game store and just buying models, that they just thought looked cool. They were in the store and they were just like, oh, that looks really awesome, and it looks really cool, and I really want to try to paint that. It looks really cool. So I know a lot of us come from that cloth of painter first, player second. Just giving it a good once over to see if there's anything I forgot to paint. Because with all the wrinkles and with all the folds, it's a very, very tough. It's a tough model to paint because you find a lot of details that you miss. I might have to go get a drink of water. This is part of why I haven't been on, because you guys can see how my voice like totally drops out. Let's see how that looks. But yeah, my voice like totally loses. I lose my voice like halfway through the stream. And that's just because I'm still really congested. So, like I said, I actually, about a week ago had the flu. And boy, did the flu decide to linger and stay with me for a while. And now this cold is just super with me. Just super, super with me. Super, super with me. But I'm going to keep pushing myself And I do promise to all of my viewers that are out there, we're gonna get back on track. It took me a while to get used to my new setup. I have a lot of new things coming. I'll be honest, it's been really hard with the GW stuff because my ability to get things a little bit more on time and early has like kind of dried up. And it's not anybody's fault, and it's not, it's not the store that I normally shop at's fault. It's just the way that it is. So I'm trying to do my best. I hope you guys can be understanding and patient. All right, that actually looks really good. It doesn't have all of the same details that the other feet do, but I think it'll work. So I am marginally happy with that. I think it's a good fix since, yeah, it's crazy. It like legit fell off my desk, and I was so angry when it happened, but there's nothing I could do about it. But the piece, the leg that broke off, the piece was definitely lost. So it's gone. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do here, because I sort of not figured this out wrong. Well, I kind of did figure it out wrong. So like I've noticed, I originally was painting all of this as if it was like part of his leg, and it's not. So these are armor pieces. He has armor or decorative armor on his on his knees. So I'm gonna just rework that a little bit. I'm gonna make those other pieces that are blue like a gold detail. So I'm just gonna get all of this to be red, just so that all looks right, and then I'll kind of work with the rest of it. Like I was saying with this model, it's a great model, but it's definitely a detail packed model. It's got so much detail to it. So some of those areas are like super tight where I'm painting, so I have to be really careful. But what do you guys think so far? Are you digging the color palette? Do you like the color choices we've made? Going to step away for a minute because I do want to get a little bit of a drink just for my throat. I will be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. Let me actually pop this drink. Hopefully that will save my voice, but it's still a little bit on the raspy side. Oh man. I'm going to try to go for a little bit longer, but I may have to call it after a little bit, but just because if my voice is that hoarse, you know, it's just hard to keep going. And currently where I am, the other issue is that we're having like heavy rain, so I gotta kind of monitor the area where I am because things flood. So I wanted to paint just leading up to when things are supposed to be getting a little on the worse for wear side, so that both you guys can help me take my mind off of it, but then I could also keep myself up until we hit that time. So far so good. But now that I said that, I'm sure I'm going to be dealing with a crazy amount of insanity probably in an hour or so. So I'm just trying to, again, paint all this detail, but I feel like I don't want to paint the whole thing as silver. Oh man. So what we're doing, we're painting some models that are going to be part of a multiverse campaign, which will involve Warhammer stuff, but it's also going to interweave Marvel and D&D stuff, and it's going to be a campaign style mission. So if you're a Warhammer player, you know that they do scenario missions as well as like regular missions. We're going to kind of structure the campaign that way, and a little bit more of an RPG aspect. So if you're a really old Warhammer player, you might remember things like Gorka Morka and even Necromunda. Like, you can play a lot of those games in a more like campaign style, where all the characters and your like troop you know, everybody advances with like XP and you evolve and spend things between, but you're essentially doing combats that use the rules of 40k, but you know, are in a setting based kind of environment. But because this is something we're homebrewing, it'll have a lot of its own rules too, which is a lot of fun. That was lead belcher I just used for the lantern. Now I'm going to do some Balthazar gold. I hope that's what I grabbed. Because I'm going to do a mixture. I did some Retributor gold. Now I want to do some Balthazar gold because this is a spider merchant. So this character in the scheme of our adventure is going to be a character they meet, where you can get gear from, and probably going to be a quest-based NPC. I haven't completely fleshed out the entire story yet, so I'll have to figure out exactly how I want to utilize them. But I'm going to use them in that setting, and then the other area that I want to use him in is also going to be in Spelljammer, is the other place. So he will be part of a spaceport in Spelljammer as well. And all of that will also be linked to the multiverse campaign, because we're gonna have that crew, those people appear. I really like how that looks. And then I'll probably do, once this gold dries, I'll do the Retributor gold on the top of that. Just so there's a variety of color, to it. And then I'm also going to use this gold on my improvised rings that I had to make. So if you're just joining us, I was telling everybody how this wonderful model fell off my desk. So I had to use green stuff to recreate a leg, and I just created some simple like gold rings just to make the leg look more interesting, because it had an armor piece on it that happened to fall off as well. So I wanted to get that, and I have no clue where it went. It spectacularly fell off my desk and went behind my desk, and I'm pretty sure that it probably fell underneath something. So I think the piece broke off and then fell underneath something that I can't get underneath and to. So I just used my sculpting skills to just make a new leg, and make some decorative jewelry to kind of cover up the seams, and where that is. So, and again, if you'll see more customized stuff, because we're gonna get back to working on my my space orcs. So essentially a pirate band of orcs that stole Space Marine tech, and they're now like going around the galaxy, just robbing people essentially. So we'll be back to painting those guys, and they're insane. Like yeah, I have a lot more plans for them, but I have to get a few more model kits to bash together to finish them. But my big success is still using. So for folks that might have gotten the new Leviathan box, I took the Dreadnought from that box and I put a Gretchen inside of it. So he's like a big guy, and he can of course beat people up because he hardwired himself into a Dreadnought. So he's got all cables running into him, and yeah, he's no joke now. He can That's it's one of the only reasons that the orcs like let him hang out with them. Is because he's like he hardwired himself into a giant death robot. Oh. Because when I came up with the idea of like this custom like band of troop of orcs that stole Space Marine stuff, that was like the first thing that came to mind was just like, because of course we're used to it, a regular orc army, like the Killicans and all that stuff. So I was like, well, what would be like the equivalent if they had Space Marine tech? And I'm like, well, that's probably how they would do like the Killican idea was just hardwire Gretchen into, or in this case, I mean, storyline for that is going to be that he chose to do that, but, or I should say chose in quotation marks, right? He chose, because Gretchens don't really choose anything, they just get beat around. So, alright, I just wanted to do that. So now that's looking a lot better, and that looks it looks natural. It looks like it's part of the actual model, which is good. I have to do the gold detail. I want to do some of these coins with this as well. So I was gonna say, for the folks that are watching, what are some of the projects you're working on? What are your go-to factions for it could be 40k, it could be Age of Sigmar, whatever. I'm always curious to find out what people are playing, what they're into. Is there a model? Is there like a model kit that Is there something coming out that you're really looking forward to? GW has made quite a few announcements actually in the, because it's the holidays. They always come out with so many different announcements and things. Excuse me. Obviously more like this time of year we get announcements, but I know for myself, I not to switch gears on folks, but I've been loving the just all the info coming out with the old world stuff. Of course I do play Age of Sigmar, because I'm a huge fantasy. I love fantasy character settings. So I've been loving this old world stuff. That's been a lot of fun to see those announcements. So I've been really, really loving that. And then, man, I am messing this up. Not that it's a huge announcement, but they did recently, I think, throw up on pre-order the new Horus Heresy model for Thousand Suns, which I'm excited about. That's another faction I really want to work on. I bought a few of the Thousand Sons Horus Heresy stuff. And of course I bought the box for Horus Heresy, and I want to convert all of that into Thousand Sons. But I wanted to do it in a very interesting way. I wanted it to be my my goal with that is to do like an in-between. So I want to paint them as if they're like a hybrid between what we know them in Horus Heresy to be and their future color scheme. So it's kind of like they're transitioning, sort of. Now what I'm doing is I'm just trying to put that gold in a few other places, just so we have like gold in different areas of the model. Like I said, this is the little nooks and crannies and detail on this. Even though this is not an official GW model, I know I'm using it in a GW capacity. I actually might use this in Necromunda too. I think it's really fair to give a shout out to Lethal Shadow Premium Miniatures, because they make such nice miniatures. And they do make stuff that can sub into your D&D stuff and your even Warhammer on your fantasy side of things, and they're going to be doing sci-fi models next. So they're super great guys. They have so many cool things there. So their website is amazing. I met them at Comic-Con. I actually met the president of the company and their painter there. They were super nice, super awesome. I feel bad because we're like reviewing their models and having them on the channel. Now, I was supposed to do it way before now, but I've been so sick that our videos have been like staggered and not exactly the way that they should be. So I'm so sorry for all of that from you guys, and I really appreciate the patience for all you folks that have been hanging in there. I know it's probably annoying, and I hope many of you have not shown up to times for videos where we're not actually on. But I'm trying my best. It's just a lot of different things, between life happening and other stuff. It just got a little harder to do all the videos, but I'm so happy you're all here and around and with us. And I had a question for the folks that are watching right now. And maybe nobody that's watching right now knows, but I've been having some trouble with my stream. And it's actually where I start the stream, and then what'll happen is someone will actually I guess comment or thumbs down my video or thumbs down my stream, and then the whole stream freezes. And I'm just curious if people out there like actually know what that is. I remember seeing a notice from Twitch that people can now in the moment comment on your videos, which I think that's what that is. but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to pretend to be the best. I'm not going to pretend to be the best Twitch streamer out there. I'm learning and still figuring out Twitch myself. So it's very possible that things that are especially newer features, I am not as well versed in. But I just was like curious if others out there maybe watch other streamers and have seen that happen or have heard of that bug. Yeah. But I was going to say, if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. I'll figure it out at some point. But yeah, it's just like super odd. People will just like jump on, basically thumbs down my video, and it just freezes my entire system. And then I have to basically quit everything and start over again. So it's like very, very odd. And one of the reasons I'm asking is I'm getting a little nervous because part of me is thinking, is it a feature, or is the thing a feature? And then my other part of me is like, does that mean that somebody has like hacked my stream and they're like able to control my stream or do other stuff? And that was like my other concern. So, and I know a lot of times, because Twitch has a very, very awesome, cool community. A lot of times, you know, most of us who watch, or like a lot of people who watch me, sometimes they themselves stream. So that's why I like to always throw that comment out there. Or maybe, like I said, you watch an alternative streamer, or you've watched other streamers and you've seen them have the same problem, and it's like, oh, it's like more of a Twitch issue. Because I know that happens too. They'll implement a new feature and then you know, just doesn't work completely accurately the first time. So I'm just using Gilliman to touch up some of these other areas. As you can see, now that we've gotten a lot more of this model painted, you guys should start to see a lot more of that detail, and it should also start to really pop now because we've gotten so much of it. A lot of, you know, we got all that white out of the way. So and like I said, guys, don't be shy. I'm probably gonna go for another what time is it? Yeah, probably go for another like 10-20 minutes, and then I might say au revoir. Just because, as I was saying before, the only reason I may have to go is because we're currently having some wonderfully adverse weather. And unfortunately, my the place that I'm at does have a tendency to have issues with rain, or lots of rain. So I have to kind of be on diligence. So since I was going to have to be up around this time anyway, I figured I'd do some painting and we do some streaming. So you guys could help me stay up, essentially. And then address any issues or problems that may arise. Just doing the corkscrews. The corkscrews. The corks of the bottles. I said corkscrews. You can tell that I'm in good shape. There is a little bit of overpainting I'm going to have to fix on here. Oh, I didn't paint Gilliman on that at all. That's funny. I'm just giving the model a look and a once-over to see, is there any other areas that I did not paint with that Gilliman. There is some areas underneath the legs that I have to do, and I have to do some of the detail there. But I'm just looking to see... Yeah, the bow, I haven't figured out what coloring I want to do for that yet. But a lot of these objects, I'm trying to do them with a little bit more of a brighter finish. So that we have some more interesting colors. Because like I said before, I like, you know, the idea of this guy is he's a merchant. So he's supposed to have... You know, I want it to look like he has very eclectic wares. So, like, you know, things from different corners of the world, things from different areas. Hopefully, you guys are liking that idea, and like the color scheme that we've come up I've come up with. I'm using contrast paints. If that wasn't clear, I do a bad tendency sometimes of not saying what I'm using material wise, so I do apologize for people that maybe are watching and they're like, he's not even talking about what he's using. And I'm also sorry to any of the people out there that are like, this guy just doesn't stop talking. I feel like sometimes that is another reaction that people have when they watch my stream. Maybe they're they're like more on the chill side, and they're like, I just came here to chill out, man, while I paint. So I always like to apologize because I am a little bit of a chatterbox. But I do enjoy painting, and I do enjoy and like to explain and share my creativity. It's one of my favorite questions that I ask, and I ask it usually a couple times during my streams to people, is like, what what was the thing that got you into hobby painting? Like, was there a particular model, or was there a typical series of things? Sorry, they keep moving him around a lot. I'm just trying to sort of figure out what is left to do. And like I said, we're probably going to go for just a little bit more time, and then I'll have to head on off because I got to check on things. As I was saying before, sorry I'm not giving you guys a good angle to see what I'm painting. But some of the angles here are a little bit crazy. And of course, if you like what you saw, consider following the channel, signing up for notifications if you haven't already done that. But most people that watch me usually are already signed up for notifications. which is a good thing. I'm very happy and blessed that folks are finding us and checking us out. So we're just painting up our spider merchant here. I'm going to be using this in some story-based campaigns and Warhammer-related stuff, but also D&D, and also in D&D in that, and potentially in Necromunda as well. So I'm going to be using him in a lot of places. And as always, please love to hear what you're working on, what's up, you know, what's your favorite tabletop game. The sky's the limit. And I was going to say, if you like what you see, consider following the channel, signing up for notifications. I paint all manner of things. So we paint Warhammer stuff. I paint Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff. Indie models, all kinds of things. I'm a commission painter as well. You can check out my stuff on my website. You can see that all in the About section. So if you ever are thinking about potentially getting some models painted, you can contact me through there. I'm also a commissioned artist as well, and we're going to be having so much cool content coming between comic stuff, between all kinds of different things that we're going to be doing. So as I say all the time, if any of that sounds intriguing, interesting, or cool, consider following us and checking us out. And if you're already following us, and if you're already part of our community of awesome, super cool people, then thank you. And I promise we will get back on track with more content. That's the big thing. Oh, people are popping in and out. Well, just the same. I'm gonna be heading off soon anyway. I'm just painting all this in Skeleton Horde just to give it like a color, and then when I come back, I'll pick out some more details in this. I like doing that sometimes. I like just blocking out the color, and then especially with something like Skeleton Horde. Skeleton Horde's a good color because it's very light, so pretty much anything I put on top of this will just cover it. But at least now I can see it a little bit better, because sometimes I struggle with that. I struggle with seeing detail in the white sometimes. I know this model is taking me a long time, but that's because he's got a lot of complicated pieces to him. And I just have to, again, it's a lot of just overpainting kind of stuff. But you can see how cool it is, like when I do, when I don't do what I just did, it's really cool. But when I do things like what I just did, what I was going to say before I put a ton of water on my brush was, it's really cool when you see that green. And if this is kind of, you know, if you kind of know how to layer your paints, I did the green first, but now I'm going back over it with the Skeleton Horde, and you'll see that that'll cover up that green. So if you really get good with the contrast paints and you get good at the concept of layering your paints, you can really start to make some really good combinations. And even just sometimes layering the color on top of another color can make you get a different variation of that color, which looks really, really good. But I will say, even if you're not a total fan of the contrast paints, the browns in the contrast paint line are really, really good. Like, they are like super good. So I recommend adding them to anybody's painting. Like catalog of paints. They're really, really good. I do want to do a video where I try using some of the other company paints, like Vallejo and all that. The problem is we just have I have so many, even just like getting all the models so that we can have a bunch of different models to paint on this channel. It all has a lot of cost associated with it, so it can be really challenging to try to get all that stuff. So that's where your support comes in, checking our about page. If you do think that commissions are something you want, hit me up for those. We will eventually have a Patreon, which you'll be able to subscribe to. All of that will help the channel and make us more successful than we are now, which is always helpful. But as always, guys, I really, really appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Like I said, I'm going to be heading on off because I do have to take care of a couple of other things. But we will be back hopefully tomorrow. Again, we're going to be doing videos a little bit more on the later side of things because that's just what my schedule allows right now. But we're going to keep trucking and doing some more stuff. So thank you all for watching. Please check out the About page. Like I said, if you're checking this out after we were live, consider following the channel, signing up for notifications. If you're seeing this on YouTube, please follow our YouTube channel as well. Right now, it's just going to be kind of archiving our VOD videos, but we'll be having some original content up there as well. Just in the process of getting everything together and getting things more settled. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you at the next video. Take care, everybody.